It's starting. It says it's broadcasting, and we're live. So awesome. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
This is broadcasting, and we're live. Oh, damn it. There's awesome. Hi. Wait on. I'm got YouTube open somewhere, so there's huge feedback. I think. Right. So this is a bit new to me. I figure for lots of people this is new. I'm really happy to see everyone here caring about React Storybook. I care about it a lot. Yeah, we'll be maintaining it together, I guess. So let's get to know each other a little bit. Anyone likes to go first?
You can start.
Okay. Maybe I can start. I'm Thomas from Germany, from Cologne. I work for a software company and I just tried out Storyboard, and a day later the message came from the discussion in the GitHub that Storyboard maybe will not anymore further developed. So I said, oh, that's very, very pity. And I've seen Marie's talk at the React conference, and I was just shocked and say, oh, that must be something going on further. And so I'm so happy that we are now trying to moving this car even further. So thank you.
Marie, would you like to go next?
Yes, but I think, do you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Cool. So I'm developer, front-end developer, and I use Storybook since I think like quite the beginning, like last year. So I wrote this little add-on, the specs add-on, and then I wanted to propose a talk about what all the things you can do with Storybook, not just the basics. And so I did this talk at ReactConf, and that's me.
Cool. I'll go next. I'm Norbert. I live in the Netherlands. I work for a software consultancy company. Do lots of different front-end technologies, but I do love React a lot. I also love style guide-driven development. So I've contributed and used a few style guide generator things. Amongst one of them is Storybook. I loved it for its simplicity and speed and how it helps develop things in isolation. So I haven't been using it for a while for day-to-day use, but I have done that. And I've also been investigating in creating add-ons for it. So when I saw, just like you before, when I saw the issue, I was like, I can help. I want to help. This is a good project that I understand because I had seen the code base and I thought, yeah, I can help here. Matthew, you want to go next?
Sure. So my name is Matthew. I'm a software developer here in Boston. One of the few United States people here. And I work on a company called LogRocket, and we build a tool that helps front-end developers replay bugs that happen in production. So if there's a crash or a user reports an issue, we let you go back and see exactly what went wrong. And I'm excited about Storybooks. We use it a ton ourselves, and I think it has a lot of potential to just make it really fast to not only just build interfaces and build kind of isolated components, but also kind of maintain, and as apps grow, to keep the apps maintained and make sure that they kind of the whole team can collaborate well. So when I saw that, kind of it was maybe losing momentum, I thought like, oh, maybe I can help, kind of move the project forward. So excited that we're here today.
Michael, if you can hear us, I think you can now. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello guys, do you hear me?
All right. Oleg, you want to go next?
Yes, but I'm not sure that you hear me. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's a bit choppy, but yeah, just let's go.
Okay, I am from Moscow, but now I live in Thailand. In Moscow, I worked in the biggest company which do architectural lighting, and some time ago we decided to start web application. That's why I come to React, and now I very like Storybook is the greatest tool. Guys, I'm sorry because my spoken English is not very good, so maybe it would be hard for me to understand you and you to understand me.
Don't worry, I can understand you perfectly, mate.
Okay, thank you.
So whoever wants to go next, go next.
Okay. So my name is Bernard. I'm from New Jersey, also on the East Coast of the United States. I also became aware of Storybook pretty recently, and I was just scrolling through my Twitter feed one day, and I saw that Dan Abramov had posted this thing about Storybook being, he posted a link to the GitHub issue. So I saw it and really want to help out, and I'm really excited to work with all of you in that endeavor.
Yeah, same for everyone here, I think. Whoever wants to go next, or has everyone been?
I can jump in. This is Zola. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll turn on my video for a second. I'm actually, so I live in San Francisco, and I'm driving up to the mountains right now. My wife is driving though, so don't worry, it's not me. So if my call goes weird, or I'll turn off my video after this, just to see what's going on. So Tom, Dominic, and myself work at a company that we started recently called Chroma. Before that, we were at Meteor Development Group, and then before that, we ran a consultancy called Percolate Studio. And we're front-end web developers. We have been for years. We actually built some tooling similar to Storybooks back at Percolate, and never really sort of released it. And then we used an iteration of that at Meteor. It was very much tied to that framework called Chromatic that we did release, but we didn't maintain it, or it didn't gain any traction because it was so closely tied to Meteor. And now that we're at Chromatic, we're sort of exploring more sort of like I don't know, I guess avenues for making UI development better. And we've chosen Storybook as kind of our tool for building components rather than like rolling our own in-house tooling. So yeah, naturally when the project needed maintainers, we jumped right in because yeah, we want to writing our own stuff. We want to work on an open source project, and yeah, work with all you guys. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm going incognito again. So nice to meet everyone.
Okay.
I guess I'm the only one left.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so my name is Benny. I live in Iceland. I'm a front-end developer primarily, but I also work a lot with Node and just JavaScript in general. I got to know Storybook through my work with Icelandair. So I work for a company here in Iceland that is working for Icelandair. And we are trying to find, we were looking for a tool to basically use as a living style guide. And Storybook fit the profile perfectly. So when I heard it needed maintenance, I just, wanted to jump on board and help in any way I can.
Yeah, I think everyone has sort of the same story, right? We used it more or less. Now, we want to make sure that it, at least at a minimum, continues being as good as it is. But for me, I definitely want to improve it as well. So.
By the way, guys, I fixed my audio, so I just
Yay!
want to give a quick self-introduction. It's not working in Chrome for some reason, but Safari works great.
All right.
And so I've been a Storybook's user from the get-go. I had built something pretty similar before, kind of an internal tool for Blaze, which is the Meteor front end. And so when I switched to React and saw Storybooks, I jumped on, and I'm very interested in sort of extending Storybooks around collaboration features, and have been writing some plugins. I haven't released anything, but I've been using stuff internally for about 6 months, and am interested in sort of the plugin architecture and how to extend it.
Sounds super useful. Nice. Cool. Collaboration with Storybook. That is a good point. Right. I feel like I'm in the moderator mode, but if anyone else wants to pick the moderator role here, that's perfectly fine with me. Don't feel like you cannot interrupt me. So on a technical point of view, I think there's two things that I definitely want to bring up on Slack. I've already posted that I'm working on them. I just now, like 1 hour ago, I got Storybook working on their Webpack 2. So that's good. It works. I got it working in the mono repo that I'm building. I'm really curious to know what your guys' and gals' opinions are about this mono repo. I've worked on projects that had 4 to 5 repos, and that was fine. But more than that, I tend to feel like we should at some point switch to a mono repo. But anyone wants to pitch in with their thoughts on that?
I personally think in terms of maintenance, it will be easier if everything is the same repo. Just for the discovery and stuff like that, you are not forced, to go to a lot of different places. So yeah, it may be a great thing to ease a little bit the maintenance process.
Has anyone here ever worked with a mono repo that published multiple packages? Like I know Babel.js does that. I've looked at how Babel.js does it, and I've at some point in my career experimented with Lerna. So that's how I set up this mono repo. Anyone else with experience in that regards? Maybe other better toolings that they know?
Well, I can ask because my boyfriend has a mono repo and is going to do a talk about that like next week. So I may ask him advice if you want.
I've used Lerna and to publish multiple packages, and it works well. Sometimes you have to set up a few custom scripts around it to help. And it looks like they're now about to release a yarn, so you can use Lerna with yarn. So it seems like it's a good it'd be a good option.
I thought it already had Yarn integrated, but sure.
So maybe recently it did.
Yeah. So from my short experience with this repo, I've merged in 3 repos. The history is maintained. Yeah, it works really well. I have no problems with it yet. So if any of you guys would like to take a look at it and see what they think about it, yeah, just give me some feedback on whether you think it's good. Same with the Webpack 2 support. So I just pushed the branch onto the mono repo. Please have a look. But what I do think is important is to discuss on whether we want to continue support Webpack 1. I think there's quite a few projects out there that use React Storybook with Webpack 1. Probably all projects use Webpack 1 currently, though people don't want to because it's like one of the most requested features in the issues. I think it's going to be quite difficult to support them both. Not impossible, but difficult. I'm split between supporting them both or supporting only Webpack 2 from now on. Any thoughts?
I think that's the idea of versions, right? That we can just move forward and do a major version for Webpack 2. And I guess if there's like really important stuff that needs to be backported, but rather than clutter things up to sort of do backward compatibility, my personal preference is to move forward.
Yeah, I agree with Michael on that one.
I think that if we do a major version bump, we can always make patches if we have some fixes that we need to fix in the older version. But I see no logical reason to keep supporting Webpack 1 unless we really have to. So yeah.
Cool. I guess most people are in favor of making the assumption that we're going to be making a major release that supports Webpack 2 and does not support Webpack 1. Maybe eventually we'll be able to add Webpack 1 support into that major release. Maybe at some point. I don't think we would say we would never do it. Okay. So there's, I talked to some guys at NPM, or to put it, what I did was talk to them on Twitter, and they talk back. But I haven't really gotten an answer back to what I want to know, which is, can I somehow publish all the previous versions of all the packages that Kadira was in charge of and were related to Storybook? Can I republish those into a new organization on NPM? Has anyone ever done or heard anything about such a thing? I think someone posted in Slack that they have more direct connections to someone at NPM. Any help here would be highly appreciated.
I actually did something very similar last year, and I basically did the same thing you did, contacted NPM support, and they just made it happen. So I don't think it should be a problem unless there's like an ownership issue. But yeah, that's my experience at least.
Okay, so you've had direct contact with people on NPM via another method than Twitter?
I think I just sent an email or something. I can look it up, but I'll see if I can find the messages, and maybe I can revive that contact.
Yeah, if you could. I think that anything that would make it happen quickly, that would be awesome. Because if we republish all the versions of all the packages, migrating will be very easy for people because they can just change the organization name and they can keep the versions the same. And then, yeah, we can basically deprecate or maybe move anything that was previously under the Kadira organization to the new organization. And I think as soon as we got all those packages and versions over, then we should do a new release that contains Webpack 2 support. And yeah, it will basically be React Storybook 3.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too, right? Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So from your experiences, what would be the highly requested features except for Webpack 2 support, which is coming in Webpack in React Storybook 3? Anything else that we should cram into that release? We're going to be making a breaking change anyway, so now's the time to sneak stuff in, I guess. Marie, you as a add-on editor, maybe have some thoughts on this?
Maybe at some point we could think about easing the backend stuff. Like at the beginning, the add-on API was mostly for executing front-end code. They open it a little bit to let you, publish new routes inside the backend of Storybook to allow you to run some server-side code, but it's still maybe not optimal. So maybe we can think about that for the future.
I saw some GitHub issue where someone requested access to the Webpack compiler, which is server-side. Yeah, I think we can open that up to add-ons. It's anyone else?
I'm generally interested in more configurability on the UI, like the container side, and there's definitely issues related to that. I'm not ready to necessarily do anything right away on that, but I think for a future release as well, that would be the area that I would want to focus on. Same.
I definitely want to introduce some sort of UI customability. Damn it, the word is so hard to pronounce for me. But yeah, it's just like you can ship your own wrapper component for something as an add-on. I think that would be amazingly useful. I've seen some plugins like Chapters, for example, that uses quite a bit of trickery to change which stories are shown at runtime. I think if there was some way of better filtering or panelizing stories, maybe Chapters would be hugely differently.
Maybe we could provide some additional API for add-on development. I have some ideas. Maybe we could discuss it later.
Okay.
To do stuff like chapters may be easier for the developers.
Yeah, I guess if you would gain access to the Webpack compilation, you also get access to the Webpack JSON. And if you have that, then you have all possible stories. And then you could statically render all possible stories and render your own UI if you have such a hook.
And I started some work with UI. Now there is a pull request. Guys, maybe you could review it because it's mostly finished. I started before.
Sorry, it was just a little bit hard to understand, but maybe if you type it in writing, you talked about a pull request you had opened. That was almost finished, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can go with this. It's about
Right,
what in
yeah,
the
that
Storybook
one.
can
Yeah, it's a
constrain.
huge UI improvement, refactoring, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw it. Cool. Yeah, let's think about adding that at some point. Would be
Okay.
great. Any other features that people want to talk about right now? Marie and I worked on a add-on called specifications, and we were experimenting and streaming just into just results into Storybook. It was quite awesome. But I was thinking last night, maybe some sort of terminal interface wouldn't be really weird for Storybook. Like you could interact with something on the back end. I don't know. Just something that popped into my mind following that.
Yeah, I'm not sure to get what you.
I missed Zol's introduction earlier because I came in late on the audio, but Tom Coleman also mentioned to me that he's very interested in testing related improvements and story shots stuff.
Yeah,
he didn't have any specific features.
The way I personally use Storybook a lot was as a development tool, not so much as a presentation tool or a documentation tool, but mostly a development tool. I'm personally interested in improving it for that purpose, but that does, of course, not exclude any other purposes.
I actually use it in a very similar way, but at the same time, one of the things I was hoping Storybook would solve for me was a tool that would make it easier for me to develop components in isolation, while also giving me the option to, for example, use Storybook Hub. So I can just send a link to the designer and he can just click through it and interact with the component to see it, if it's the same thing he was thinking, basically, because we work very closely with the designers. So I think, it has to be a balance between the two. So my 2 cents.
Definitely, yeah, sure. I would not want to lose the option of publishing Storybook onto a static location or a semi-dynamic location. Like we could either continue Storybook Hub, which I've never used personally or am familiar with, but we could also help by documenting how you can easily publish something on Heroku, for example.
Yeah, I also want to add in that context, while developing things, we write a lot of tests. So I was actually watching the discussion you and Marie were having about the just specifications, that add-on. So I'm really excited about finding a way to make that work.
Yeah, I think if you look at Create React App, then more and more stuff is added as sort of, it's still optional, but it's there if you're ever going to need it. I'm hoping that we can do the same things with Storybook, where if you're using some sort of testing framework on your own, yeah, go nuts, right? But if you're using Storybook, it's really easy to jump in unit testing your components because we already ship Jest, for example.
Norbert, you mentioned in the sort of agenda for this item that the Storybook Hub, kind of continuation of Storybook Hub, was an option, and I was wondering kind of what the status of the code of Storybook Hub is. Is that also made available, or is it still closed source?
To answer your question, I would literally have to Google that. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay. As far as I know, it's a closed source extension. So I've sort of started writing my own version of that because I wanted that functionality as well, the sort of publish to a server. But I thought maybe since those guys have handed off a bunch of repositories to you, maybe Hub was one of those things. So curious.
Not to me. Maybe Marie has something. Sorry.
No, but because I never use, I mean, I don't know what it is actually. It's a cloud service for Storybook.
It's basically a builder. So when you submit a pull request, then every commit on that pull request will trigger a build, and it'll dump it, I guess, in S3 or something equivalent for viewing and sharing. And that's what Benedict was talking about with working with designers. So that collaboration flow is what I'm super interested
we did that at work actually, but not with Storybook Hub. Basically, it's super easy to just deploy Storybook because you just build it statically, and then you just have a script that pushes it somewhere. Like for us, it's Netlify, but it could be anywhere. So yeah, actually, I don't know at all this project. So we did the same thing, but manually.
I would actually be very interested in looking into that because Storybook Hub has some limitations. There are ways, you know, I'd like to be able to configure it more extensively, etc. So yeah, if we can look into that, that would be pretty awesome.
So just have a question about how we can organize ourselves for ideas. Do you want guys to still use the project that was like made 6 months ago for the V3?
Sorry, come again? I didn't quite get you there.
Yeah, like 6 months ago, Storybook started using the project feature of GitHub to, you know, organize issues and know how we can, you know, decide what we are going to do or not. So I was just wondering if you want to still use that and actually trash stuff from the one that is already existing, or I don't know.
You're talking about the GitHub project that they have started.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful, but maybe I overlooked something, but I didn't see there was terribly a lot in there.
No, there is not actually. Yeah.
Are people using GitHub projects successfully? I tried it when it first came out, and it seemed very limited compared to something like Waffle or any of those other existing solutions. Sort of unrelated to Storybook, but here.
Personally, don't like it that much. We are using it at work, actually. But the thing is that you need to add manually all the issue you want, you know, them to appear on the board. So basically, you can, you know, just lose. I mean, you can just forget about adding stuff, and then when it's done, you can just let them disappear. It's super weird. So yeah, maybe Waffle is better.
I've worked with so many time tracking, issue tracking, project tracking systems. I don't care anymore. They're all the same to me. So if anyone has any sort of project management tool that they like, I'm okay.
I personally love Waffle, but I haven't used any of the other ones. I just know that compared to the GitHub one, I think it's a lot better.
Okay, is Waffle free?
Yeah, it's free.
For open source? Okay, cool. If you want to create a project in Waffle and add it to our Slack, that would be helpful.
I'll do that, sure.
Cool, thanks. So I think discussing features complete now, or anyone else wants to bring something up? Okay, so when we are there currently anyone any of you want to add as a contributor? or should we discuss on when we want to add people as a contributor? I personally think we should try to be near open source, where if someone is really helpful, just add them as owner. But that's just how I roll. What are your opinions on it?
I think I have a similar opinion as you. I think if people are, passionate about a project and investing time in it, then just awesome. Let them do that in the best way they can.
Matthew, you have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think, I think as long as we communicate well about kind of new features and changes, that I think being open, people make the right decisions usually.
Cool. Yeah, it's not muted. I hate bureaucracy, especially on open source projects, because there's no need. When we've got source control, so we can revert things. So when we see helpful people, just drop it into Slack. Hey, thinking about adding this person to our contributors. And I think then do it. If you trust a person, then other people don't have any reason not to trust them.
Yeah, I tend to agree as well with all of that. The one thing I'd add is that it's really helpful to set up our own guidelines for what we expect from sort of pull requests and code quality, code reviews, that kind of thing. Because that's the only thing that can fall by the wayside when a project is too democratic, is that it's kind of hard to know, what sort of meets the bar to be included in the project. And then it's really helpful to have guidelines or standards that everyone in the project follows, and therefore it's easy just to point out that, this pull request doesn't meet the standard that we all adhere to, rather than it being like, a sort of personal thing where someone, it's one opinion versus another. That would be the thing I'd add, and I'm happy to look at drafting something like that.
Thanks. That would be really helpful. So if you could improve in that department on what sort of contributions or how they should be formulated, maybe that would be a lot of help.
Sure.
So another thing I had on the agenda was Storybook Hub, but we've already discussed it. So the last thing I had was who will maintain which sections. So I think everyone here, following from what I've heard from the introductions, is familiar with React Storybook. I know there's a Storybook UI, which is framework agnostic, and there's also a React Native Storybook. So anyone has experience with that? A non-React Storybook or a React Native Storybook? I guess not.
I personally never use the native one. And I have a question about that, actually, because I understood that it was still maintained by, okay, I will not be able to pronounce its name, but not Arunoda, but the other guy that was contributing to Storybook. Yeah, and so I'm wondering if it will still continue, to be maintaining it or not. Maybe we can clarify this point with him.
Sorry, go ahead.
I got a colleague who's really good at React Native. So I might ask him to come on board and help us with React Native Storybook if he wants to.
I talked to Tanish a bit, and he told me that he's sort of committed to like helping people with issues around add-ons, but it sounded like he has a pretty limited bandwidth for actually maintaining stuff. So it seems like it's sort of transitional thing, and he'll be available to help people out with that, but maybe not doing a lot of ongoing work, as far as I could tell. I don't want to misrepresent him, but that's my gist.
About the add-ons of Storybooks, I can maybe I can help on this part because I already know the API stuff. So maybe I would be more, you know, efficient because I don't have any a lot of bandwidth either. So maybe I can start looking at all the issues and all the add-ons that are Storybooks ones.
I think we should create a GitHub label specifically for add-ons. I think that would be helpful to filter out those.
Yeah, because you want also to put those inside the monorepo, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
You want to put the add-ons inside the monorepo?
Yes, because I want to test them in conjunction with new stuff.
Okay. And can discuss that later. But
sure.
Okay. Right on.
So I'm out of things to talk about.
What I guess Zol kind of mentioned this, but sort of deciding how we plan like the roadmap for the project, and if we have new features and kind of what the process is, I think it would be good to maybe doing this on a document or kind of writing out that process. I think would be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can take a stab at a straw man, and yeah, we can kind of collaborate on that from that point on. We found at Meteor maintaining that large open source project, it was really useful to add some like guidelines and a bit of governance to bring everyone on the same page, and then it's not, you know, no longer feelings, but yeah, a process that we all follow. So yeah, I can put something together in the coming weeks, and we can all sort of work on it until we get to somewhere that we're all comfortable with.
Yeah, cool.
Does anybody know the status of the documentation and kind of how to update the, like, because there's all the GitHub documentation, but then there's like a whole sort of site around Storybooks. And so do we have edit access to that?
.io website. That's actually a separate repo. So we can make changes to it. I don't know yet how to deploy it, but I'm guessing it's going to be easy. I don't have access to where it's deployed though, so that's a good point. I need to request access to that so I can actually deploy it.
Do we want to discuss how we're going to tackle existing issues? For example, React Storybook alone has like 103 open issues. I noticed someone created issue triage guidelines issue. So do you guys want to talk about that, or?
Well, I think we should try to be as helpful as possible, and if having an issue open is helpful, then it should stay open. But our main goal, of course, is to have like inbox zero utopia, where we don't have any issues and no pull requests because they're all merged. But yeah, sometimes it's helpful for a community to have an issue stay open long. But on a regular basis, issues should be closed as soon as possible, and should reflect what we're using, what we're going to do. That's what issues should reflect, right? And then pull requests should be things which are done, but just not merged yet.
a technique not to be not to feel overwhelmed by the whole number, which is quite huge, is maybe to look at the issues and look at the thumb up. Like we can take the ones that are really needed by the community and maybe do some prioritization for those. Would be the first way to triage the issues.
I think what will help getting the number down also is labeling the right ones with this needs a PR, this stuff will be beginner friendly, making comments, explaining the issue further. An issue can be, I would like this feature, period. And then we could come in and explain what exactly would need to change, and then label it like this. Anyone can do this. So that helps people who actually want to contribute but don't know what to do. And that helps everyone. So I think trying to get as many people involved, that way will make sure we don't go insane and still have the project get better over time.
I have a stupid question about the mono repo, which is, do all the issues come into the mono repo automatically somehow, or is there something there as well? Because I'm guessing that the issues are actually scattered out over multiple repos right now. I haven't actually looked at the issues much.
Yeah, so the issues and pull requests are now scattered across 27 repos. That's just terrible. I've created a watch on Slack that watches them all, so at least I'll be notified of anything. But yeah, that's my main concern and main reason why I would want to switch to a monorepo. To answer your question directly, by default, a repo can either be deleted or created. It cannot be like merged into another repo. That's not possible manually. But it is something that I can contact GitHub about, because they can do lots of administrative things that would normally not be possible for users. So I'm kind of confident that they would be able to move over issues. Of course, pull requests might be a little bit different. I don't know. I just have to ask GitHub.
I believe that for issues, maybe we can write a little script, the GitHub API, that will recreate all the issues onto the monorepo. For the PR, I think it will be more complicated.
It shouldn't be impossible, but yeah, it's probably very iffy. So we should try and merge our pull requests as much as possible, or close them and make a note of it, and then switch to a monorepo if all of you agree, and we can get the issues moved over.
Until then, we have two teams now, core team and maintainers. No, contributors, I mean. And contributors only have access to like 4 repositories, I think. Just like if we're going to go in and start tackling issues, then it would be useful to get access to more repos.
If everyone agrees, I'll just move everyone over to access to everything.
That would obviously solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Cool. Okay. I thought this was awesome. I just want to thank all of you for being here, for caring so much. Yeah, if you've got something to say or something to ask, ask now or later on Slack, I guess.
I have notes, so I'll just maybe
Nice.
make a gist
Thank
or
you.
something, or and just people's names are bolded if there's kind of an action thing to do there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping you would do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for organizing, Norbert. This is really a huge transition and really exciting. Awesome.
Me too. And it's surprisingly little work to be honest. It's easy. Everyone can do it. But let's continue. We'll continue discussing things on Slack. So once again, thank you everyone for being here, for being so open.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Great to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.